There's no silver bullet like, well, if you just set your metronome to 76 and you turn your face east and then like cluck like a chicken, then all of a sudden you're gonna have great flam drags. It really is just, you gotta grind quite a bit. It takes a lot of time. Like, I've been playing for 25 years and I'm still refining stuff because always things to improve. So whenever you're playing, you want to make sure that you're efficient with your drumming. So you don't want to have it so that you are doing a downstroke and then having to pull up with the upstroke. So when you're throwing it down, get out of the way of the stick and just let the stick naturally rebound out of the head, kind of like you would a basketball. You wouldn't like hold the ball and palm it the entire time while you dribble across the court. No, you'd throw it down, let the rebound come back up into your hand. So same thing with drumming. You want the bead of the stick to go down with a quick velocity stroke and come back up out of the head. So just get out of the way. If you are, however, doing a downstroke, don't squeeze it to stop the downstroke. Just simply stop your wrist from moving and let the stick kind of not be able to rebound by having a closed space with your hand, but not a tight space with your hand. So you're simply just stopping it down here. The only time when you are focusing on the upstroke is when you are doing from a low to a high note. You will actually have to pull your hand up to get that upstroke from a low into a high. When I first started teaching drumline, I was a bit OCD with practicing. If I saw students who were not practicing to improve, I would be like, yo, you need to be focusing on playing something to improve, the stuff that you're not good at, rather than just having fun with it. And over time I realized I was wrong, like completely wrong with that. It's okay to just, you know, have fun drumming, which is what I'm just kind of doing in this stream this morning. And I highly recommend for you, just make it so that the majority of your time, maybe, is spent just trying to refine things. And then every now and then when you need it, have fun. I was wrong. Sorry, first students that I worked with. I've learned, improved over time. Speaking of, let's see if this is improved. That was fun. Gonna hold my breath the whole time. I'm kidding, don't hold your breath. That's bad. You'll pass out. No! It was perfect. Another flawless performance by Jared O'Leary. The whole 10,000 hour rule is actually like a myth. It's not 10,000 hours. It depends on the domain you're in. Like some domains, it's 4,000 hours. But to become international level of musician, it's I think around 21,000. There was a study that came out in the 2000s that was talking about it. They did like an analysis of how many hours it actually took for professional level musicians to get that good. And it's way more than 10,000. So be prepared for the grind, hence the grinding for XP t-shirt that I'm wearing. I'd recommend watching rehearsals for other professional level groups. So if you go to like DCI, WGI, collegiate rehearsals, even if you can find some online, like sometimes a snare tech will like hold their phone and they'll kind of walk around and like talk about how they approach things. And so if you see different approaches, what works well and what you would do differently, then you can kind of apply that to your own approach. So my teaching style is based off of just observing other people who were good at it and who were bad at it. And then it became much more research-based. So yeah, many ways that you can learn how to do it. And experiment and get feedback. Ask the group, hey, what do you look for in a leader? How can I help you? Take the ego out of it. Some leaders get too wrapped up in the title. I'm the best, so listen to me. But it's also good to listen to other people because they have good ideas too. And remember, not everyone's there to become the best in the world. Some people are just there to have fun. My skin color looks so different for each camera. One's actually a hand model. The other is actually just me. They're off camera over there and on their other camera. Need to have them get a spray tan so they can match. They're doing a great job of modeling my motions. Oh, throw them off. Whoa. What's funny is someone who sees that is going to take me seriously. When you're kind of whipping these in, that molar motion is going to allow the forearm to kind of get out of the way, but it's mainly derived from the wrist. The primary motion is here, this motion, and this may move, but you're not going to initiate from here, from like the shoulder or from the elbow. You're going to initiate all your motions from the wrist. You want to be relaxed in your fingers, and you want to be relaxed in the forearm, so when you are doing this, you can move the wrist without, like, when you're squeezing the fingers, you can't bend your wrist. So if I let go with the fingers, as soon as I squeeze, I can't bend the wrist. And if I am holding with my elbow, like if I am like flexing this or something and like I'm tight, it's very hard to move the wrist compared to when everything is nice and loose. Extra heavy sticks. These are not sticks I would actually perform with. It kind of reminds me of, like, I don't know if you watched Dragon Ball Z, but Goku wore like a turtle shell on his back where he was training. And so he would use that, do just like daily chores and whatnot, work out, etc. Always wearing this really heavy turtle shell. And then after like a whole summer of training with that, he finally took it off and like was able to jump like a mile in the air basically. And so he just got used to it and was like, oh, I can totally do this now. So same thing with these sticks. Like it basically allows you to just get used to the endurance and the chops, etc. It's extra fun when you're trying to chop out with those sticks. She doesn't know it's open yet. She's deaf. So she couldn't hear it. Whoops. Little rim shot, giving it some flavor. So instead of playing a full accent tap on this, like, what I'm actually going to do is make it so it's like a 9 and 6. And the reason for that is because I'm trying to be able to get the strength built up for the diddle so I can control them to make them nice and even. It's usually the second part of the diddle that is a little bit weaker, so you might get a diddle that sounds, here's an over-exaggeration of it, but... So one way that you can work on that is just emphasizing the second note. So that way when you play it normally, it sounds like that. I learned this from Jeff Queen, who was like, I think the 4-time world champion snare drummer and the soloist for Blast. So like, dude knows what he's talking about with this. So why would you do cheese after an accent grid? Well, this is great if you are having problems with the accent on 3 when you are playing the cheese on 1. So it comes right after it. So I highly recommend working on this. It gives you several different variations. And then it makes it so that when you get to normal grid, then it's a whole lot easier. Speaking of, there are over 600 grid variations on my website, over 1,500 hours of free drumming content. Play-alongs go as slow as 20 beats a minute. Use a timestamp to jump to as fast as 240 beats a minute, depending on what you're playing. Highly recommend it.